Have you ever looked at your husband and realized he was a complete stranger? I found myself asking in the bathroom mirror, mascara running down my cheeks. The sink was strewn with half-used makeup wipes and stray hairs from my brush. I just spent the last 2 hours in a haze of shock and fury trying to piece together the life he'd hidden from me. It started innocently enough last Thursday when I opened my email to find an invitation, forwarded by a friend. Ultra VIP only, Orion's Eclipse New Year's Bash. My friend, Naomi, had written, "Hey Sarah, thought you might like this." The email's header boasted a lineup of celebrities, DJs, models, and influencers. I shrugged it off as another trendy party that some of our mutual friends might attend. But then I saw the RSVP list, dozens of names I recognized from our social circles, and one that made my heart plummet, David Harrison. My husband, the mild-mannered accountant who kept meticulous records and fell asleep by 9, was on that list, and he'd RSVP'd, yes, +1. My hands shook as I scrolled through page after page of his glossy self-portraits partying with scantily clad models, his arms slung around someone new in each shot. His Instagram handle, @DavisGetHigh, flashed across the screen beside these photos, followed by thousands of adoring comments. Legend. Teach me your moves, Daddy. Where's this next? Rager. My breath hitched, and I backed away from the laptop, nearly tripping over the laundry basket. Double life as a famous party boy? He hadn't just slipped out for late work dinners. He'd been headlining events, racking up Instagram followers by the boatload, living in penthouses, and jetting to exotic parties I'd never known about. I paced the living room, replaying our last month of business trips and late nights. The weekend he claimed was a team retreat at that resort in Lake Tahoe. He was there all right, flashing neon lights and bottomless champagne. The conference in Miami that left me alone for 5 days. He was at a yacht party off the coast, his face bronze glowing under strobes. I did what any rational spouse would do. I dove down the rabbit hole. I opened multiple tabs, his verified TikTok, the party promoters tagging him, interviews where he, David the Rager, gave cryptic answers about a secret passion project. I discovered his side hustle, partnering with an events company, charging VIPs a cool $5,000 for private meet and greets with him on cruise ships. According to People magazine, he'd become the hottest, even odd-numbered weekend host in the celebrity circuit. A text buzzed on my phone. "Hey girl, are you going to Orion's Eclipse?" Heard David's headlining. It was Naomi. My palm grew sweaty. "What are you talking about?" I typed, keeping my composure. "David's doing what?" Her reply came almost instantly. "Oh my God, Sarah. He's been all over TikTok and Instagram. Check his posts, like yesterday." I tapped his profile again. Videos of him dancing on tables, spray painting props with pink glitter, DJing under ultraviolet lights, and shouting, "Let's get WILD," into a microphone. The common threads were insane. Brands courted him. This is at Davis Get High at the Galaxy After Dark Party. Watch him light up the stage. My heart pounded as I slid onto the couch and stared at the screen. What had I missed? Our quiet dinners, our walks through the park, all those mornings waking him up with coffee. None of it prepared me for a husband who lived 2 lives, only one of which he tolerated me to glimpse. That evening, I sat down with my phone and texted him, "Working late?" No reply for an hour. Finally, as I was about to crumble, my phone buzzed. "Nah, babe." Rubbing shoulders with some big names tonight. Catch you later. It was that voice, confident, carefree. Not the one I knew. I closed my eyes, fighting tears. When did I stop knowing him? How many times had he slipped? Out under my nose, my mind spun with betrayals, back-to-back client dinners that matched his. Party dates, the conference calls he'd done from a club's VIP lounge, and the stale scent of tequila I'd sometimes catch on his jacket without understanding why. Over the next day, I became a detective. I cross-referenced his Instagram timestamps with my bank records. There it was, big cash withdrawals at odd hours, wire transfers to a PR agent in Los Angeles, Venmo payments labeled event promo. Then, in the depths of my computer's downloads folder, I found the PDF of a talent contract he'd downloaded months ago. He'd listed me as an emergency contact, but not as a spouse. Instead, he described Sarah Smith as friend/emergency contact. When I confronted him that night, I slid the contract across the table in our dim kitchen. What is this? My voice was tighter than I intended. He looked at the paper, blinking. It's just a contract for appearances. His tone was casual, but his face went pale when I asked, appearances where, for whom? And why did you never tell me? He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. It's complicated. I never thought it'd go this far. He paused, staring at me. I just wanted something exciting. I felt fury ignite. Exciting. You wanted excitement so badly you built a secret empire I knew nothing about? You live for this, while I'm here living alone with our kid for half the month. He swallowed. I didn't mean to hurt you. He looked at the door. Give me a chance to explain. But I had too many questions. When would a normal afternoon beer become a full-blown mini-celebrity lifestyle? How many times had he chosen this alter ego over me? And who was this new version of my husband? He stood there, shoulders slumped, while I tried to steady my voice. You need to tell me everything, I said. No more secrets. I handed him back the contract. We'll talk tomorrow, every detail. He nodded, eyes pleading. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The man next to me, once so familiar, was now a stranger living an alternate life of neon and fame. How do you salvage a marriage when one half of it is living on a dance floor in Ibiza? And who would I be if I stayed? As I closed my eyes, I whispered into the darkness, Part 2, please be kind. Tomorrow we would begin untangling the lies, and I'd finally learn how long he'd been dancing in the shadows. The next morning, I woke to the soft hum of my phone buzzing on the nightstand. My head throbbed with exhaustion and anxiety. I stared at the screen, a single message from David sent. At 4:12 a.m. Sorry I crashed so late. Busy night. Call you later, Red Heart. My pulse spiked. Busy night meant another secret party. I slipped from bed, careful not to wake our daughter, and went to the study. There, on his desk, sat his laptop with a partial web page. Open, a glittering flyer announcing Davis Get High at Eclipse Ultrafest VIP experience. Available now. My breath caught at the headline and the countdown timer blinking, 2 days to go. I sat at the desk, sliding open the drawer where I'd stashed the double life evidence binder. Inside were printed social media posts, contract scans, screenshots of his Instagram with geotags in Vegas, Mykonos, and Ibiza. I shuffled through them, each image a jolting revelation of champagne-soaked nights I'd never guessed. My phone buzzed again, this time a text from Naomi. Saw you online. Eclipse Ultrafest is going to be insane. Wish David wasn't booked. I stared at the message, Anger flaring, Naomi knew more than I did. I spent the morning digging deeper. I extracted metadata from his party photos, latitude, longitude, timestamps. They matched his business trip flights on his frequent flyer statement. There they were, tickets to Sin City labeled MK Finance Conference, a 3-day stay at a suite where he'd hosted private meet and greets. The conference venue was actually a club complex called Neon Mirage. By noon, I had Slate's celebrity news article open. Tag your favorites. Davis Get High is Wild. Ibiza After Party. Underneath his stage name, a quick search linked to a promotional website. Selling VIP tickets to Get High with Davis on his private yacht. The ticket prices started at $3,000. I felt bile rise in my throat. While I'd been balancing our household budget, paying for ballet lessons and groceries, my husband had been profiting, big time, from a life I never knew existed. That afternoon, I texted David, "We need to talk tonight." "Home at 7. He replied instantly, "Work." "Dinner, can't." "Tomorrow." My hand hovered over the keyboard. I typed back, "No, come home." "Tonight." And hit send. He called within minutes. "Sarah, I'm at a client dinner, can't do tonight." His voice was smooth, practiced. I closed my eyes, heart aching. "You promised," I said softly. "No more secrets." He hesitated. "I'll be home by 9. I hung up, resolve hardening. 9 o'clock it was. All day I prepared. I printed out the latest evidence. His VIP influencer contract with Waterfall. Events, bank statements showing direct deposits to his Entertainment Solutions LLC and a calendar logged in his Outlook, private events dubbed confidential engagements. I organized it into a new binder labeled Tonight's Confrontation. By 8:45 p.m., the house was calm. Chloe slept upstairs. Michael's Lexus glided into the driveway at 8:57. I stood in the hallway, binder clutched to my chest as he walked in, still in his suit, tie loosened, cheeks flushed. "Sarah," he began, dropping his keys. "I'm sorry I'm late." I held up the binder. "Explain this." His smile faltered when he saw the title. I carried it to the living room and laid it open on the coffee table, forcing him to sit. "Start with the contract you signed 6 months ago," I said, voice steady but cold. He ran a hand over his face. "That was supposed to be a one-off. I never meant for it to become a career." I pointed to the contract's header. Davis Harrison, Entertainment Solutions, LLC. Beneath it, engagement fee, $10,000 per event. I tapped the line. "You've done 15 events so far. That's $150,000. How much of that went to our household?" He swallowed. "Almost nothing. I had to reinvest in equipment, PR, travel expenses." I flipped to the bank statements. "Look at these transfers. $25,000 to Miami Nightlife Partners, $18,500 to Yacht VIP rentals, $12,000 to DJ Delight. And that's just 3 line items." He closed his eyes, voice low. "I wanted you to feel secure before I told you. I wanted to have enough to make it feasible." I laughed, a short, bitter bark. "Secure. You strapped us with daycare costs I couldn't cover. When you double-booked yourself, you racked up business expenses we're still paying off." He reached for my hand. I jerked away. "Don't." I opened the Instagram screenshots showing him at Neon Mirage, a glass of champagne in one hand and a model clad in glitter in the other. "This isn't a hobby, Michael. It's a double life." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry." I closed the binder with a sharp snap. Sorry isn't enough. I stood. I want full transparency, financial disclosures, all accounts, passwords. I want a schedule for every upcoming event, and I'll decide which you attend. No more surprises. And I want therapy for you, for us, for our daughter. He stood, voice quivering. I agree. Whatever it takes. I stared at him, this stranger who'd built a secret empire. Give me 7 days to see if you follow through. No lies, no omissions. Then I'll decide what our future looks like. He nodded, relief and fear mingling. I will. As I walked away, binder in hand, I realized this confrontation wasn't just about wild parties or money. It was about the man I thought I knew hiding behind a persona I never imagined. Whether our marriage survived depended on whether he truly wanted to come back to the life we shared, or whether the siren song of strobe lights and VIP passes would pull him away forever. Tonight was part 2 of our story. Part 3 would decide if love, trust, and a shared future could survive the lure of a life lived in neon. That Sunday morning, light filtered through the kitchen blinds as I set 2 mugs of coffee on the table, black for him, latte with oat milk for me, just the way I liked. The confrontation binder lay open beside his place, now bookmarked with check marks next to each promise he'd agreed to keep. Today marked the start of our 7-day trial. Transparency, accountability, therapy, and only the carefully documented events he'd scheduled. He entered, dressed in jean jacket and jeans, looking both apologetic and hopeful. He gave me a small, rueful smile as he took his seat. Morning, he said. Ready for our first trust talk? I nodded, heart fluttering. Yes, and I've scheduled your first therapy session, couples therapy, this afternoon, and your individual therapy tonight. His eyes widened but then softened with acceptance. Thank you, he whispered. Over breakfast, we practiced our trust talk ritual, 2 minutes each, uninterrupted, sharing 1 fear and 1 gratitude. He started. My fear is slipping back into secrecy. My gratitude is that you're willing to guide me through rebuilding trust. I felt warmth bloom at his sincerity. My turn. My fear is finding more secrets I don't know about. My gratitude is that you've shown up early every morning this week to share your schedule. He squeezed my hand. That afternoon in Dr. Patel's soothing office, we delved deeper than any financial spreadsheet. She guided us through the 4 horsemen exercise, identifying patterns of criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. We practiced replacing them with XYZ statements. When I hear unexpected party plans, X, I feel anxious. Y, because I value stability. Z. With each practice round, I saw genuine remorse and concentration in his eyes. Then she had us build a future vision, where we painted in vivid detail the life we wanted. Post-recovery, weekend hikes with our daughter, date nights at our favorite bistro shared, art-making Sundays at home. As we spoke, I remembered why we fell in love, our shared dreams. Tears slipped down my cheeks as he described holding Chloe's hand while she chased fireflies, and I realized our path forward wasn't about erasing the past, but weaving it into a richer tapestry of understanding. That evening, David left for his individual therapy session with a small, red leather journal in his hand, a gift from me with the inscription, "Truth becomes us." I watched him out the door and thought of all the hidden bookings and bank transactions. If he could fill that journal with honest reflections, expose his insecurities instead of submerging them in strobe lights, then maybe we could reclaim the sanctity of our marriage. Over the next week, we instituted our rigorous transparency plan. Shared calendar, Every obligation, work, play, or party went onto our joint Google Calendar in real time. Open accounts. He granted me view-only access to his business account in private. Social media analytics. Weekly check-ins. Wednesday nights became our couple's debrief, where we reviewed that week's events, what went well, and where we needed more clarification. Date nights, no phones, highlights-only discussions, celebrating moments of connection, not work crises. Monthly family-first rituals, alternating hosting duties with his mother and my sister, cementing the boundaries we'd set around parental involvement. One evening, I noticed a notification on his business account that read launch party. Confirmation. My chest tightened, an old habit of jumping to conclusions. But I opened the calendar and saw he'd updated it to a work demo with colleagues at a coworker's home. He must have addressed my concerns promptly. Later, he showed me an email thread detailing the change, CCNG me. That small act of inclusion felt like a stone placed on the bridge we were rebuilding. Mid-month, we hosted a family-first Friday in our backyard, our first in the new series. Teresa arrived with homemade zucchini bread. My sister brought her guitar. Chloe led us in a game of tag under string lights. No secrets. We roasted marshmallows, swapped stories about childhood, summers, and danced to an old vinyl of Motown. Under the stars, I caught David's eye and saw not the party boy persona, but the warm, playful man I married. By the end of the 7-day trial, we reconvened in Dr. Patel's office. She asked, "What progress do you see?" I spoke first. He's kept every commitment. I've seen him choose our family stability over temptation, even when work, and he's been wholly present. David added, "I've learned vulnerability is more rewarding than any applause under strobe lights. I want to build my identity here with you beyond any party persona." Dr. Patel smiled. "Your work is far from over, but you've laid a powerful foundation. Trust will continue to grow through consistent choices." She gave us each a certificate of completion for our reconciliation intensive. That evening, as we tucked Chloe into bed, she whispered sleepily, "Daddy promised no more secret parties." David kissed her forehead. "I promise, sweetheart. You're my biggest party now." I hugged both of them, heart full. In the weeks that followed, we kept up our routines. Therapy shifted from weekly to monthly. The binder of evidence retired to the closet, proof that our worst fears once came true, but also that transparency could heal. David's social media presence rebranded, no longer Davis Get High, but David Harrison, family man in finance. His follower count dipped dramatically, but I saw steadfastness in his gaze. One morning, as we sipped coffee on the back deck, David reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver key, engraved with the date of our confrontation and the words authenticity. Unlocked. He handed it to me. "You hold this," he said, "because you unlocked the truth in me." I fastened it to my keyring, my heart's own talisman. Years later, long after wedding anniversaries and birthdays, long after we bought our forever home, I would still see that key and remember the razor's edge where love almost faltered. But I would also remember how we chose each other, chose honesty, chose to rebuild trust block by block. We'd woven a new narrative, one richer than any wild night or VIP event. And sometimes, late at night, I whisper into the hush, "You're more than any party. You're the one I choose every morning." Then I feel the warmth of his arm around me and know that, despite the double life he once led, we found our way back, one transparent, courageous step at a time,